caller.
You're calling from an 818 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh.
Yes, I believe this is Dave from Jamaica.
Hey. What's up, everybody? I was going to, maybe I'm jumping the gun on this one, but I'm also not a big fan of Marianne Williamson either.
Shut up, Dave. Stop it.
Yeah,
Don't be like that.
I'll explain why. Because, all right.
Because you don't like awesomeness.
All right, but like, look at Cornel West when he talks about peace and love. He makes those concepts seem very powerful.
Yes.
When I heard Marianne talk, she kind of made them seem goofy.
Well, Dave, look, if you're comparing,
that's such a great point that maybe Michael's losing a team member right here.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that? Beta.
You didn't hear?
No, you know what? That literally is the most, because part of the reason I like Marianne Williamson is because I'm just still not convinced. Like, I don't buy this notion that she's more crazy or flaky than almost anybody running for president who isn't, say, a Sanders, right? But I like that point, actually. I think that is totally true. I think that we do need to take things like love seriously. I think that we do need to take... I think you're totally right. I think Cornel West makes them compelling and real, and she basically falls in the trap of making them seem like Hallmark cards. Yeah, and that's a fair point.
And West makes it, I think, just to jump on your point or piggyback. God, I tried to avoid saying that.
You just want to amplify the point.
Yeah, exactly. That's better. Is just that Cornel West makes it political, and she's running for president and has a hard time making her love point political. But I think there is something really endearing about like this old school hippie thing about her. And I read this really thoughtful and generous piece in Vox about how she's a representative of the growing spiritual but non-religious component, where a lot of my friends are like that, right? And there's a huge faction or a growing faction on the left that identifies with that. And, while I may not personally agree with it, there is a lot of merit to trying to appeal to that aspect of the population. And we're going to be seeing more and more of those ideas incorporated into politics because that is a real thing.
I'm going to say to the Prime Minister of New Zealand, sister, you are so on.
Vic, what do you think?
I think that she's good in the sense that she brings spirituality into our politics, which is not a thing, and I think that it should be. But the Cornel West comparison is great because, I'd rather have someone who knows politiration theology.
Well, I mean, but
in politics.
That is a
not
devastating
secret,
comparison. I mean, you're also you are. I mean, that is taking a AAA player. You're comparing Cornel West is the best in the game.
Yeah,
there has to be a way of comparing.
But I mean, she is running for president.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why, caller, I'm forgetting your name, but
Dave from Jamaica.
Dave, that was such a phenomenal point. So, you kind of crippled us all here.
I think that you manifested your perspective in a way that was very clarifying energetically.
Can I just make a counterpoint though?
Namaste.
Yeah,
about spirituality and the power of love.
Yes, you can.
In her own words, I mean, this is true power. What she's
oh my
talking
God, I'm
about here.
fucking terrified already.
Mentally quarantine the government of Syria. See them and their minions surrounded by a golden egg that their malevolence cannot penetrate. Within the egg, let's see them showered with light to awaken them.
Put down that pipe and get my pipe up.
That's power. I mean, that's
so wait,
power,
that was
though,
Cornel
Dave.
West?
No, that was the Queen.
I know.
Right.
I know. I'm aware.
Donald Trump is not going to be beaten just by insider politics talk. He's not going to be beaten just by somebody who has plans. He's going to be beaten by somebody who has an idea what this man has done. This man has reached into the psyche of the American people, and he's harnessed fear for political purposes. So, Mr. President, if you're listening, I want you to hear me, please. You have harnessed fear for political purposes, and only love can cast that out. So sir, I have a feeling you know what you're doing. I'm I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field and serve.
I think that Trump would actually, of all of the women, well, actually, no, probably Kamala Harris. And pretty much if you put an attractive woman against Trump, he would be uncomfortable. So
yeah, but
that would apply to 3 of them.
Who? Actually, 3.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you? Yeah, wait.
Who's the third?
Oh, for me, Kamala. Yes.
Oh no, I know that she's gorgeous.
Gabbard's the third.
Gabbard's
No,
the third.
Gabbard's
I'm
the
sorry.
second. Who's the third?
Williamson.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I mean, by
kidding
default.
me?
Gillibrand got ripped.
That's true. The only lifter in the game.
Yeah.
Gillibrand is not crossing any metrics.
Not in the polls either.
Yeah. No, but okay. All right, Dave. All right. Very, very clever, Dave. Very clever to throw out Marianne Williamson by using the most compelling public intellectual in modern America. That's very fair, Dave.
But she's running for president. She got all the
So is Eric Swalwell. No, I mean, honestly, this is the point I will rest on. What makes her more intrinsically ridiculous than many other people on that stage? Honestly, like what? And especially when you consider the fact that, in fact, like what you're saying, Emma, is true. There is a lot of people, particularly a fair amount of like
young people,
but also like, you know, middle-aged women who are very loyal Democratic voters who respond to this stuff. And also in general, I'm a believer that people on the left generally have to have some conversation about what drives people in these arenas. I just don't think it's enough to say like, well, science doesn't validate your spiritual views. So I don't know. I was allergic to all of the hate on her after the first debate.
Well,
I didn't really get why she was a target of most of the people on that stage. She may have been embarrassing to watch at some points, but her kind of general look, she was the only one who said we need to have a policy about opposing regime change in Central America if you want to deal with a broader crisis. She was the only person who did sort of mention other motivations for public policy. I don't know. I mean, again, look at all the other jokers on that stage. This was a stage of Swalwell and Gillibrand. I don't know.
Yeah, I did agree with when she said, you know, you're not going to beat Trump with plans. That's 100% correct.
I agree.
You don't win politics by saying, I've got this great plan. Like, that's not how you do it.
We might have a disagreement here.
Well, I'm not a plan.
I mean, in terms of winning elections,
not necessarily details on plans.
Details. I think that to only combat his substancelessness, you have to give substance, which can involve plans, but it has to have other aspects.
Yeah, not the plans on their own.
But
Dave,
to be fair,
anything
Michael,
else?
to your point, if it was up to me, the only people on the stage would be Bernie, Warren, and then Biden for the lulz. But
I mean, we say Biden for the lulz, but Biden represents something in politics. I don't agree with it. I oppose it, but I think we have to look somewhat clinically at some of these things. And even her, like, I think that she does, you know, I have and it's very weird for me to be the one to make these points because this is not where my thought process usually goes. But I do even more broadly than this primary. I think there's something very weird journalistically and culturally that the response to Trump is like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And hers is automatically, this is a fucking joke. I don't, especially before.
But Trump was considered a fucking joke in the first day.
I never thought he was a joke. I always thought he was going to win the Republican primary. I didn't think he would win the general election. I was wrong about that, but I definitely thought he'd win the Republican primary. And I just think, like, you know, yes, he was considered a joke, but he was a joke that CNN gave the whole fucking day to cover. You know, so I think I don't know. Matt, why do you hate her so much?
I mean, we've been over.
No, not on this show. No, why do you hate her so much?
I think it comes from two camps, Michael.
Yeah.
In the sense that I'm more annoyed because I really believe in the peace and love and understanding thing. And I guess she did sell it that well. And that kind of pisses me off a little. That's probably
so you have like the Dennis Kucinich frustration. I remember the first presidential campaign I could vote in was in 2004. And Kucinich was running. And I remember almost feeling like this guy is a CIA creation. Because why is this like goofball the only one who's talking about peace?
Have you seen his wife? Not so goofy now.
I did. I was on a panel with his wife once, and so goofy now.
Beta.
I was like, incidentally, I don't think people buying sustainable chopsticks will solve global warming. And I just also like to conclude, tell your husband I say, beta. All right. Dave, thanks a million for the call. Appreciate it. Man.
Do we really think that her message of love is going to have any material impact on America at all?
No, but
of course. I think Cornel West's message will.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. Like with Marianne Williamson, like the reason I wasn't bashing, Swalwell after the first debate is because no one was talking about Swalwell.
You were charmed by Swalwell.
And like this idea that we're going to devote, and I get people have some like sort of like irony, or maybe people actually genuinely like Marianne Williamson, but like it's a complete distraction. And like I pay attention to enough pointless political things to pay attention to one more.
Well, look. My perspective is that any candidate that isn't Sanders is a distraction.
Yes.
I mean, that's my blunt perspective. So I get that. But I'm keeping it 100 on the post game.
That's good.
But I think that there is a lane of saying, why is it that she evokes this contempt when there's so many more worthy targets?
It just comes with the attention.
Like elected officials.
But it's also the fetishization of intellectualism that we've been talking about since the beginning. So,
yes.
Exactly. I think that I'll do pop psychology or whatever, analyze your analysis.
Please.
I just think that you're, to your credit, like really wary of this elitist narratives driving behind candidates. And there is a lot of that, right? Like there's a lot of, she's not serious. But no, I hear what you're saying too. I'm kind of in between everyone.
I mean, that's the other thing is like
both sides.
And yes, she gave all the material you need to hate her. There's no doubt about that.
And she's like, the other thing is I just don't think she speaks for normal people either. She's like a mystic guru to the stars.
But I think there are some Midwest moms and stay-at-home moms that really like her. I do think
there's people like Vic. I mean, Vic really was influenced by Return to Love.
There are people that
That's what we need. That's what we need.
There are people that are like I'm tired of like this arguing and like this policy substance. Like, what are we? Let's like just be good to each other. They're not the majority of voters because most people like to hear a little substance on the Democratic side, but right?
She's also helping out Gravel now.
How's she helping out Gravel?
Oh, she's encouraging all of her supporters to donate to Gravel now.
Really?
Yeah, that just happened yesterday.
That's great.
She's into cosmic consciousness. You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full main live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.